Welcome back to another episode of Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. Here we talk about the traumas, the struggles, the issues that our women go through, and then we look at their triumphs, the victories, their wins. No doubt, I keep saying our women, we carry a S on our chest, superwoman. What we call them? We can call them uniquely me women, of course. Last week we had a guest on, and we're going to continue with her, Christine Atherton, otherwise called Auntie Rosie, sharing her story of being abused, not just as a child, but it seemed to have followed her into adulthood. We ended just at the part where she was talking about her husband locking her out just at a time, 1 o'clock in the night when her siblings seemingly had dropped her off. But I have two questions for Auntie Rosie, and we're going to continue. But just before we do that, have you subscribed to Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart? I'm going to pause here, and you're going to just go click that subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget it. Click it. Tick, 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 tick. All right. So stay tuned. We're going to come back with part two with Christine Atherton, domestic abuse.
Uniquely me is uniquely you. Balancing the different hats of life, achieving all your goals in the name of Christ. Uniquely me is uniquely you. You can do anything. With the S on your chest, you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. You are a winner and you're an overcomer. You can be all things to Christ who gives you strength. Yeah.
So, Auntie Rosie, just before we break last week, I had a question that I want to continue with. Did you ever feel in love? Were you ever in love? Even amidst the abuse, did you ever feel, was there ever a time that your husband said, I love you, and you felt that love connected somewhere there?
Um, yes, he did. Um, but you know what, Simone? I had the problem saying that I love you. Um, you know, growing up, mommy was always too busy with the kids and trying to get things in place, work, taking care of her husband, and so because of that, I found it hard to cuddle
Yeah.
and to look you in the eye and tell you I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I had more to put it in a postcard
Okay.
or write it on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
I did love my husband. Still love him,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, he told me he loved me. I loved him,
Mm-hmm.
but I just found it hard to say it because we never grew up cuddling each other and saying it, you know? It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a part of growing up, so
Mm-hmm.
I found it hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So you shared a part in there where your siblings dropped you off, and you knew the moment you put the key in the lock that you were locked out. Why not say to your brother or your sister, you know, my husband locked me out? Why not? Didn't you think they would come to your rescue? What went through your mind?
They would have been there. They would have been there. If I
Mm-hmm.
told them I was locked out, they would have been there. They would have turned back.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, I never wanted anybody to know that I
Yeah.
was going through all of that.
Yeah.
You know, you're supposed to be you're the older one,
Mm-hmm.
so you're supposed to be an example,
Mm-hmm.
and so you still wanted to be that example.
Yeah.
But no, I never wanted to call him.
So, Auntie Rosie, the woman I met and have come to know is a strong, resilient, bubbly woman. What has made you like that? Compare, because listening to you now, and I'm sure those who are going to be listening and watching this interview, they're going to be like, that's not the Rosie we know. What made you so strong?
It's having to stand up for myself,
Mm-hmm.
getting stuff done for myself,
Mm-hmm.
because other than calf, well, not wanting to pressure anybody with your problems. You try to go there, you try to get things done for yourself. It's having 2 kids. Fathers are not wanting to do anything because that's the only way they can get back at you. So they don't want to do anything. And so it's having to raise 2 kids on your own, fighting with them, fighting with the fathers, fighting with your father. And so it just made me kind of tough.
Yeah.
But it gets the best part of you sometime where you just have to go in one corner and just holler, just scream as hard as you can scream. And I found myself doing that a couple of times. My daughters phoned me, got concerned, and called my brothers. You know, and they would be on the phone with me and, why are you crying? Simone, I don't know. It's just that in a minute's glance,
Yeah.
you just look back at your life and see where you are and haven't moved. Even though you're doing so much, and sometimes you really need somebody, you know you're strong.
Yeah.
You need somebody to tell you're strong, because you're really doing it as hard as you can. But sometimes you don't realize how hard you're doing it.
So it seemed to me too, listening to you and us talking outside of the camera, you had to do a 360 degree and
Yeah.
come back to your dad.
Yeah.
Share with us, how did you end up back there?
Where we went, where we lived, we were paying rent. And so I was in no position to go there and pay rent. So I had to go back home. But how I went back home, I just went in, took one of the room. They were already bedding it. And I found an excuse. I told my father. I told him a lie why I came back home. And so he used that against me for quite a while.
Yeah.
He'd call my husband. He'd tell my husband my whereabouts. It was, Simone, it was messy.
Yeah.
It was messy going back home. There was no open arms for me.
But you took a chance.
I took a chance because then my dad and I wouldn't have to be close up to be quarreling all the time. So it's better than living with my husband.
Yeah.
But I had to get out of there.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in, you are indeed watching season 3 of Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. On set, I have Christine Atherton sharing with us the whole matter of domestic abuse and, how it has impacted her life as a child coming up, and it seemed as if there was no escaping. When we come back, we're going to talk about the whole matter of how the last days of her father's life and how that has impacted her, and the fact that he's not here, how is it still impacting her? Matter of fact, I have a question for you. Do you think once abused, always abused? Do you think this woman has, over the years, allowed herself to be imprisoned? I'd like to hear from you in the comment box below. And of course, if you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead, push that subscribe button. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying here with us, and welcome back to Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. So, Auntie Rosie, we are at the part now where there are several women that are going through what you've been through, and many don't know how to deal with it. Are you dealing with it? Do you think you have?
No. I think I've tried to just brush it aside. Telling myself I'm strong, so I'm just going to move on.
Yeah.
But how do you move on?
Yeah. There was a time when you had to take care of your dad in the last few years of his life. What went through your mind during those times?
Why? Why me? I have 2 sisters, 3 other brothers. Why me?
Well, here's my question. Why did you?
I think I think I was the responsible one. And if I didn't do it, who else was going to do it? Because nobody else wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Not that they weren't in a position to be there. Other than that, nobody would have done it. Because at first, he was in the care of two of my brothers. His son on the outside and another brother of mine, and they weren't taking care of him. His room was all dirty and smelly, and then my brothers came from the States and they decided that I think you should be the one.
Wow.
And then it was like, no, why me? But if not me, then who else?
You shared something. I don't know if you mind sharing it about your mom, because you also ended up with your mom being with you as well in her last few months as well. What was the interaction like with him and her and you in the middle?
Oh, I'm the referee. I always had to be the referee. He has always had the upper hand of wanting to say anything he wanted to say to her. She was very sick.
Yeah.
She had heart problem. She had asthma. She had high blood pressure. She had sugar. So it wasn't healthy for her to be in that situation. So I always had to be fighting my father. And when I say fight, I don't mean physical fight, but I always had to stood up for my mother. Wanting to tell him to just leave her alone, let her be. I think somehow, in the end, he was kind of afraid of me because then he realized that I wasn't backing down. Okay, I remember when my mother came to live with us in Montego Bay. It's because of her heart problem. She had just come from California. And we found out she had a very bad heart problem. The doctors in California gave her 2 years to live. And I said to her, I said, Mom, don't bother go back to St. Mary. Because at the time now I was driving. So if anything happened, I could easily take her to the hospital and I'm here. You have somebody. If she went back to St. Mary, she'd be by herself. My father would wake up. My brother went to my father and said to him, listen, this is a situation. Doctors gave her 2 years to live. And with all of that, we never told her anything. We never told her what the doctor said. We kept that a secret. And I remember one morning my father wake up and say he started an argument. And then he said, you all bring her back, come here. And come tell me about, the doctor said she only have 2 years to live. It'll go over 2 years now, I know she can't dead. And that hurt so bad.
Yeah.
That hurt so bad. She never said anything. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to ask her how she felt. I just wanted to just forget the whole thing.
Yeah.
And, as usual, me and my father, we had an argument. And there was another time when she got up and he said to her, you're like a parasite in my eyesight. Now I knew that one hurt her because she did take up the phone. She called my sister and said it to my sister. 2 weeks after that, she got sick. She had a very bad heart problem when she died, probably just a couple of days after. She was admitted to the hospital. But he was on his high horses and thinking, he's going to have strength and health and he's going to be able to take care of himself. So he won't be wearing Pampers. All the stuff the old people go through. He was never going to go through that. But it was a different God that existed at the time because I tell you, he went through everything he said he didn't want to go through. And then I was there. I was the one he didn't like, the one who ill-treat the most. I was the one who was there. And I asked myself a question, is it that God wanted me to be there? And if he did, I think I did a good job because I took care of him.
Yeah. If you had to face your dad now, Rosie, what would you say to him? In light of all, now that you're far more cognizant that that was all abuse. Abuse to you, abuse to your mom, abuse to your siblings. What would you say to him?
I'm not sure what I'd say to him, Simone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I could say anything to him.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm hurting,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'd say to him. Because even now, just to talk about the subject, if all of us as brothers and sisters sit down to talk,
Yeah.
and the subject about him come up, I'm angry. I'm angry as hell.
Mm. If you were to face your husband, what would you say to him?
I'd want to tie him to a chair, tape his mouth, and tell him everything how he hurt me, everything he did,
Yeah.
and how much he hurt me. I'm not sure if it would make a difference. I'm not sure. He did apologize at one time though,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not satisfied with that.
So what would you like him to do?
Nothing.
Yeah. Mm.
For me, I'm kind of past. I'm kind of past. I'm a little bit more mature now
Mm-hmm.
when it comes on to the fighting and the war.
Your children, have you ever spoken to them? Have they ever said anything to you? Do you think that they, what they've had to witness, do you think it has affected them in any way?
Yes.
Mm. What would you want to do where they're concerned?
I let him to do counseling. I let him to be able to talk about it. To talk to me,
Yeah.
they're going to probably say the same things they hear me say.
Mm.
So I let them to go out and get counseling where that is concerned. My big daughter, I think she has, I've seen her gone through abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And the mere fact that her father ignored her because I left him, and then her stepfather ill-treated her because she was a stepdaughter.
Yeah.
I know she needs help. But how do I tell her she needs help?
Yeah.
You know, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
You're fine because you think this is a part of life and that's a norm.
Yeah.
That's what men do.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. We're wrapping up, Auntie Rosie. And we know, I think we've come to discover that there's no quick fix for something like this. I feel like I need to get a counselor to probably come on the set to deal with something like this. But a lot of our women watching and have watched the previous episode and this one that's going through what you're going through and not sure what to do, what would you say to them?
Talk.
Yeah.
Talk. Find people you can trust and talk.
Yeah.
People won't criticize or judge you or think you're stupid or you're foolish.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk.
Yeah.
It helps. Talk.
Should they fight? Should they fight back?
It's not going to help. It's only going to make matters worse. That's all you can do is just talk. Talk and pray.
Yeah.
Just talk and pray.
Yeah.
And talk to people who understand. Probably it's another person that went through it and, you know, came out of it okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to talk.
Yeah. Ah, Auntie Rosie, this has been an awesome time with you. I love you a little bit more now. Because, you know, so often we see persons and we don't know what they're going through.
Yeah, because I'm always a happy one.
Yeah.
I'm always a loud one.
Mm-hmm.
I want everybody to know that, you know, I make you laugh. But it's not always like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Your pillow can talk a lot, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing so openly. And I really, we're gonna continue. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep the friendship. We're gonna keep the link, right? And somebody will. I'm hoping that somebody will at least get some nugget out of this and be restored. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. There are, of course, some signs that I want to leave with you that to look forward to if you are, look out for, I should say, if you're experiencing this, and Auntie Rosie would have shared it. If you're feeling afraid of your spouse, if you are, or even if you're a child watching, if you're feeling afraid If you are often blaming yourself and thinking that you're responsible and what is happening to you that you deserve it, if you're feeling those kinds of ways, and you would have heard so many other things that Auntie Rosie shared, reach out for help. And like she said, talk about it. You can reach out to us here. We can help you to find counselors that can assist you. Or even if you need to go to the police. By the way, I did some checks. There is now a Domestic Abuse Act here in Jamaica, and it's packed with lots of stuff that will help with safeguarding you as a victim. And can I say something to you? You don't need to be a victim anymore. You can rise out of this. Auntie Rosie made it out. She might still suffer with the emotional side of it, but she's coming out, and so too can you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm your girl, Simone Stewart. And please remember, uniquely me is definitely uniquely you.
Who am I really? Choices, choices, choices. In pursuit of a career? OMG, I'm a wife. Help! I am a mother. Oh, I'm in church. When do I get to be a woman that God called me to be? Uniquely Me covers the acrobatic endeavors of every woman to balance the responsibilities of being a mother, a wife, a professional, a church leader, a friend, yet still maintain her identity. I too am a mother, a wife, a trained minister of religion, a banker, an entrepreneur trying to balance the many hats that signifies my role. My book will help motivate and empower every woman who is really unique in her own way. Grab your copy today on Amazon, because Uniquely Me is uniquely you.
Thank you for tuning in to Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. Remember, Uniquely Me is uniquely you.